All right, lots to get to today. Lots to get to today. I wanted to let everybody know that, John Boehner, they got that all figured out now. It's huge savings, everyone, huge savings! I don't understand how he can pitch huge savings. I just don't. I'm a Wisconsin boy at heart. I'm wearing what I think is one of the greatest American success stories in the world, in the country. Over time. And my shirt, I used to drive by the Harley-Davidson plant when I was a young kid in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. I just thought about this on the way over here. Can you imagine today if a company like Harley-Davidson wanted to start, what kind of crap they would have to put up with? The environmentalists would be ticked off because they're polluting the earth. You'd have unions sitting there going, no, wait a minute, you can't do this, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you can't do that. The government would be coming after them going, well, wait a minute now, this can't happen, and that can't happen, and these can't happen, and they wonder why we can't make anything anymore. Because there's so many different constituencies busting up all of these businesses, how can they actually make a buck? And right now, Harley-Davidson is actually, and I don't know if you know this or not, they're actually in a huge union fight. They're going to try to keep the company in the United States and in Wisconsin, but if they lose, if the union prices them out, guess what happens? It's another group of jobs ends up in Mexico, and then of course the unions are going to complain that, well, they moved them all to Mexico.
Bring them to Michigan.
Harley-Davidson, located in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Not a bad idea, not a bad idea at all.
Got the checker plan, baby.
We've got places for them to come, there's no doubt. They weren't sure what to make of us. They do now. And it scares the living hell out of them, and that's a right thing. I mean, that actually is a good thing. They just still, he's right. You know, you got to persevere, and we are and will. I want to bring up Senator Cameron Brown. Last year, Inside Michigan Politics and Mirrors Capitol News Service ranked Senator Cameron Brown as Michigan State's most conservative member for 2010. The two-term state senator and two-term state representative lives with his wife Helen in a farmhouse built by his great-great-grandparents in the Fawn River Township in St. Joe County. He's currently a freelance writer and author of a popular series of illustrated broadsides of American history. Senator Cameron Brown.
Thank you. Well, Rank, you're a hard act to follow. You got the Beatles, the works. It's a pretty good deal, and it's trying to rain, Gene, so if you need to cut me off, you just give me the signal. We certainly don't want the equipment to get damaged. Southwest Michigan Patriots, good evening. Good to be with you. You know, we think of April 15th as tax day, but just a little point of history. April 15th is the anniversary date in which Abraham Lincoln succumbed to the wounds that he received at Ford's Theater the night before. He was shot on Good Friday, as you remember, but died the next day, which then was Saturday, on April 15th. But I'm here tonight for the same reason you're here tonight. I love my country.
Yeah.
When we speak about America, do we really need a teleprompter? All you really need when you talk about America is heart and soul. I greet you this evening in the spirit of that most famous of American patriots, Paul Revere, whose midnight ride sounded the alarm bell of liberty that launched the American Revolution. It all started with just two lights shining out of a church window, and off rode Paul Revere. His wake-up call is our wake-up call. We too need to sound the alarm bell in the dark night of this generation. Now, 155 years ago, a tall, lanky man from Illinois spoke to a crowd gathered just a few yards right over there from where we stand today, right in Brunson Park. It was 1856, and he came to Kalamazoo to stump for the first Republican candidate for president, John C. Fremont. Of course, we know the local history. His name was Abraham Lincoln. But does anyone know what Lincoln's message was that summer day? It was about freedom and liberty. In fact, He talked about the love of liberty. Here is what he said to the people of Kalamazoo. Here are his words. We stand at once the wonder and admiration of the whole world, and we must inquire what it is that has given us so much prosperity. And we shall understand that to give up that one thing would be to give up all future prosperity. The cause, this cause, he said, is that every man can make himself. Now, just this week, President Obama told the American people the American dream is still alive. Well, that is true, only so far as we are vigilant in protecting the foundation of the walls of liberty that have given us, as Lincoln said, so much prosperity. Each generation must do its part to preserve and protect this fragile but resilient bastion of freedom we call America. Eternal vigilance, our founder said, is the price of liberty. Now, President Calvin Coolidge was known as a man of few words, and yet he is best known for some of the few words he spoke. The business of America, he said, is business. Well, with all due respect to Mr. Coolidge, I believe the business of America is what brought Lincoln to Kalamazoo, and it is what brings you here tonight. The business of America is freedom and liberty. And here is the challenge for us today, the same challenge that faced Paul Revere and the same challenge that faced Lincoln's generation 155 years ago. It is not the loss of liberty that should alarm us so much as the loss of the love of liberty. The slow erosion of the fabric of our freedom is tearing America apart at the seams, and it is happening before our very eyes. But you are here to make a difference. You are here as guardians, keepers of what President Washington called the sacred fire of liberty, and the rain is coming. And that's why we should be alarmed at Obamacare and why it is wrong and must be repealed. It robs us. It robs us of what makes America great. It robs us of our liberty. And that is why massive deficits and unbridled spending are wrong. They rob America of its future, and they rob us of America's promise. That American dream Barack Obama said is alive and well. Not so, Mr. President. The American dream is strained and stretched to the limit, something that should alarm every American patriot, every true lover of liberty. We are here today, standing in the rain, because we believe in something. We are not all open and no mind. Our belief is rooted in the conviction that the destiny of America has a providential purpose, and that purpose is to be a Redeemer nation, a place where men and women, by God's grace, are to live free, a beacon of liberty for the oppressed, a land of opportunity for the rest. And that's why we sing, America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Yes, it has been a century and a half since Lincoln spoke here in Kalamazoo, and yet the challenge remains the same. We are to be about the business of America, the marketplace of freedom and liberty, grounded in principles established in the Constitution and so beautifully expressed in our nation's birth certificate, the Declaration of Independence. We don't need to look far for inspiration. America itself is our inspiration. And if it ever ceases to stir our highest thoughts and loftiest ideals, how dark a day it will be, because there is no other America waiting in the wings. Lincoln said it best, and I'm wrapping it up. America is the last best hope of earth. Like Nehemiah, a favorite of mine of old, that ancient governor of Jerusalem, let us return to our sacred past and gather up the foundation stones to rebuild the walls of our freedom of liberty, so they too, like the hallowed walls of Jerusalem, can last 1,000 years. Born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere. God bless you, and God bless America.